The Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce is working hard to keep small local businesses in the town of Mount Pleasant and promote economic vitality. Today, I talk one-on-one with the Executive Director of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, Rebecca Imholz, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Rebecca Imholz, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. Needless to say, you are the Executive Director of Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, whose mission is to encourage business and community success east of the Cooper. So tell me, Rebecca, what's new, what's now with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce?
Well, our newest campaign to support our mission is called Shop Where You Live. And that is encouraging folks to shop locally because we are so reliant as a community on our local businesses. They support us with schools and nonprofits. So we started the campaign right after COVID ended. And I literally was walking into my business members' brick and mortar building saying, how can we help you? And they said, we need people to come back in our doors. So I met with the town of Mount Pleasant, and in partnership with them and their Mount Pleasant Made program, we started the campaign Shop Where You Live. It's free for any business to participate, chamber member or not. It runs for 2 months. It goes through New Year's Eve. And when folks go into a business, all they have to do to participate in a weekly drawing for a $50 gift card is to say that, check in on social media that they were here because of Shop Where You Live and tag the business and tag a couple of friends. And then the chamber provides the gift card. We buy it. So again, it is free for our businesses. We so appreciate everything they do every day for our community.
Absolutely. We love the little small businesses here in the low country. Yeah, they're the best. And since that program has been launched, Rebecca, how many of those businesses, particularly in Mount Pleasant, have actually joined in on this program?
So right now we have over 100 businesses. If we follow the track from last year, we'll have about 200. Wow. So businesses are still signing up because we just launched it November 1st. Wow. And this campaign is Shop Where You Live, but then we add on to it to a Dine Where You Live campaign. Sure. That will be after the first of the year, that slow period for local restaurants. You want to get people dining locally. And then we end it with Get Fit Where You Live in the spring. It culminates with the bridge run. Because think of all the wonderful fitness areas we have in the town of Mount Pleasant and east of the Cooper. Yeah. Our parks, Mount Pleasant Memorial Waterfront Park at the foot of the bridge. You can walk the bridge. Plus, we have a lot of people that cater to those who want to be fit with trainers and different yoga studios and things like that. So Get Fit is where we end the program, and then we wait. So it's basically a 5-month campaign. We take a break, and then we start up again next year.
Wow, that is amazing, and everybody knows that I'm all into fitness with being a runner. So it's amazing to hear about this. And I've walked, run, biked over the bridge many times, and that's always fun. So how many of these participants are you seeing now with the Fit Where You Live program?
Well, it is just getting started for this year, but in the past we've had dozens of entries, which tells me that, think of the ones that aren't entering. So it's sort of a guesstimate in terms of the feeding back into the economy, but we do know from the businesses that they have indicated that they are seeing an uptick because of the campaign. And let's face it, it's free PR. We all love that. Right. So, and I so much appreciate being on your show today and helping to communicate this campaign. And the Chamber's doing a lot of other things as well, but that's top of mind right now with me in terms of how we're helping our business owners.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that information up because I didn't know about it, and I'm pretty sure the viewers didn't either. What a great campaign there. So let me ask you, Rebecca, what is the state of the economic vitality of the town of Mount Pleasant?
I find it to be really good and very encouraging. The town has done a great job of encouraging business to come in the areas such as life sciences, Novant Health Care Systems has made a really strong presence in the East Cooper area. We've got IT companies. Of course, we have a really strong hospitality sector with all the restaurants in the hotel industry. So when you look at those areas, we're really very strong. And the chamber membership reflects what is in the town, the types of businesses. Very strong again in hospitality, travel, leisure, fitness. An area called personal services, which is like insurance companies, legal firms that help support those businesses. We also have a strong retirement type community. Several, they're called continuing retirement care communities, such as South Bay and Frankie, the Artisan. So a lot of people are moving here to retire here, that 55 plus age demographic. And so businesses are now forming to support that age group. So I don't see that going away. If anything, it's just increasing. So the town of Mount Pleasant is doing very well economically.
Oh, that is really, really amazing. And we all know and love South Bay and Frankie immensely. But let me ask you this, Rebecca. With the town of Mount Pleasant and obviously the growth around the Low Country, how many more businesses do you foresee coming to the town of Mount Pleasant?
So that's a really good question. I may not be able to answer myself directly. We do work with the Town of Mount Pleasant Economic Development Officer, Matt Brady.
Yes.
He probably would have a better idea of what we see coming in. But based on the fact that we do ribbon cuttings, that we lead those efforts, our ribbon cuttings book up very quickly. So I see a good number of businesses coming in. I would not want to give you an exact number, but I do see that growth continuing, if anything, because of the new members joining the chamber and the number of ribbon cuttings that we are doing. People reaching out, asking what is it like to do business in the town of Mount Pleasant. There's a new term I learned called a franchise strategist. And they actually I've met with them before, and they will come in and talk about, so what's it really like to have a business in the town of Mount Pleasant? I've lived here 30 years, so I feel like I give them a pretty good perspective. And if you look at the growth of the town, if that's any indication, I can tell you that right now our population is about 96, 97K. And we are projected to have 100,000 residents in 2028. So to me, that tells you, and people are retiring, but they're not retiring. So a lot of times as a chamber, we'll get someone opening up a business that this is like the next part, the best part of their lives. Like they've had a career somewhere else in the United States. They want to move here. They want this to be their forever home, but they're not done.
Right.
So they're doing something they've always wanted to do.
Wow, that is amazing. I want to get back to that in just a second. But so with this group and many people moving into town right now, Rebecca, how many new members do you have versus existing members?
So actually, we have right now 430 business members, and that is a strong number. We are, the new ones are trickling in every month. So we are very much about membership engagement and retaining membership. So we do that with a variety of programs that we've added this year. First off, I'm talking to you today from our offices. And up until a year and a half ago, we didn't have office space. So we're very proud of that. We have 2,000 square feet in the Pinnacle Financial Admin Building at the foot of the bridge. And so we have office space. That's one way to serve our members, because now we can provide new member coffees to learn about their membership, what's going on in the town. We also have nonprofits come in called Coffee with a Cause, and we help promote what they're doing in the community. And our office space is available to rent by members as well. And we keep that below market rate because we do have a lot of small business owners. Another area that we've added really all in the last year is a veterans program. It's for our veteran-owned businesses. We have an event coming up in November on the Yorktown, and we bring in, it's free for anyone to attend. You don't have to be a member of the chamber, but we do provide a speaker and they talk about services for veterans. And we also feature a veteran owned business in their journey. Think about it, they've left the military. Now they're like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's so many great services in our community that support veterans that are trying to, go on to the next phase of their life. We have a young professionals group. There are emerging leaders, as we call them, in our town and our community. We want to keep them here. So we have a program for them as well. And we have a women's program, Reach, Inspire, Support, Empower, we call RISE, that also has regular events and programming. So all of those programs help to engage our members, bring in new members, but more importantly, support our business community as a whole.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So as we sit here right now, and I'm looking mentally in my mind, with Mount Pleasant as far as the map, how many small business owners do we currently have in the town?
Again, that's a really good question for
Mm.
Matt. I know as a chamber executive,
Yes, ma'am.
primarily most of my business members are small business.
Mm.
So out of that 430, I would say 250,
Wow.
are at least small business, and that means 5 or less employees. So
Mm.
the town has done a great job with supporting small businesses. They have a partnership not only with us, but a place called the Harbor Entrepreneur Center
Oh, yes.
that is on several acres in Mount Pleasant. It's gorgeous. Grady Johnson is their executive
Yes.
director. And it's a way for that small business to kind of have an incubation area where they can start their business. They might just rent, like a little, not a little, but they might just rent some space that they can work out of as they
Sure.
grow. They might add a couple cubicles. They might get some office space. But it isn't a way for them to come to a brick and mortar, start their business, and then launch, right? Fly, little bird, fly. We want you to then go
Yes.
out there.
Yeah.
So it's called the Harbor Entrepreneur Center. We do a lot. We started to do a lot with them
Mm.
because we think it's really important for our members and non-members. Again, we're always trying to come up with programs that appeal to both.
Yes.
And to let them know about the Harbor Entrepreneur Center. It always amazes me the number of folks that don't know about it. And Grady Johnson and his team do a great job over there.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Hoping to get him on Quintin's close up soon to talk about what they're doing as far as the Harbor Entrepreneur Center is concerned. But you brought up something very interesting, and you want to think back to obviously when the pandemic took place to right now. But as you know, a lot of people moved to Charleston or the Low Country during the pandemic. Do you have, or do you at your team actually see more people opening business in Mount Pleasant online versus brick and mortar?
That's a really great question. Yeah, we have a combination of both. Most are brick and mortar.
Huh.
I do have members that are consultants. They might be life coaches. They might be a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that don't necessarily have a brick and mortar, but they offer a personal service. I've also seen a really cool trend with folks who are providing, it would be in the life sciences area, but the aesthetic spas that are super popular right now that offer nutrition, maybe a little enhancement. We want to look as good as we feel. And they are going into spaces where they're with others, perhaps in that industry, and they rent like one room, but they're all together.
Yeah.
And that's in an area called Oyster Park,
Yes.
which, I don't know if you know that, familiar with that, but it's off of Ben Sawyer.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen that trend, which makes total sense.
Yes.
Like, I'm not even sure if they share a receptionist, but they share the office building. So they're a tenant within tenants.
Yes.
Of office space. I think that's really clever.
Yeah.
And a great way to use the office space we have in the town.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember going back again to the pandemic. I used to work out there in Mount Pleasant in the Oyster Point area, and I would drop off marketing packets to the offices over there.
Yeah.
So that's a really good concept, and I love that area immensely. Besides Oyster Point, and I'm looking at that right now in my mind, where else are you seeing more of these popping up in the town of Mount Pleasant?
That particular concept, I haven't really seen it replicated. We do have some office space areas called Serendipity Labs
Oh
where
yeah.
they rent to a lot of different companies. So, but they're all together under that umbrella, Serendipity Labs.
Mm.
And they have like common space they can share. So that is over by Ferry Wharf,
Ah,
the Embassy Suites at Ferry Wharf. It's
right.
over in that area of
Right.
town, and that's also a really clever concept.
Mm.
Little different take, I think, on the Harbor Entrepreneur Center, which seems to be more of a launching pad. Serendipity Labs. I mean, I know they have tenants that are long term that
Mm.
have been there a while, and it's really great to have this opportunity to have nice office space in the town, but I guess financially you're renting part of it. You're not doing the whole thing. So
Right.
it makes it a little more affordable. You can also my understanding is you don't have to be a permanent tenant. You can kind of check it out and rent as you need. So they have a lot of options over there, Serendipity Labs. And Office Evolution, now that we're talking, Quintin, they're over by the Bell Hall Shopping Center. They also have office space that people can use. They have a common area kitchen,
Ah.
conference rooms, but again, that same type of concept.
Oh man.
And
Yes.
again, that's after the pandemic, because back
Ah.
during the pandemic, we couldn't be in those types of quarters
No.
together.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Unfortunately not.
And I think, Quentin, that we've learned we like to be around each other.
Yes.
We need that personal interaction. So
Yes.
people really do like to leave their home, go to an office, even if it's in a cube, 3 days a week, and then come back. So
Wow. Do you see that happening more with these local businesses in Mount Pleasant?
I won't say more. I think it just honestly depends upon what their business is, if it
Mm.
makes sense for them.
Yeah.
I see folks that are, they're experts in social media. Well, they don't necessarily need a brick and mortar, but they need a place to go.
Right.
I see that again, as I mentioned earlier, with people in the financial industry, the insurance industry, even folks who represent non-medical home care agencies. I have members that they don't really go to the office. Their job is to go out and tell their clients and potential clients about their industry, and they work out of their home. So in order to, perhaps have a place for them to do some one-on-one meetings, like today, you and I are talking, we're doing this thankfully in our chamber conference room. But in the past, I would have thought, do I want to be at my kitchen table and hoping my dog doesn't bark? So can I go use a member conference room? So
Yeah.
I am seeing a lot of that. Again, it really just depends upon what their business model is.
Mm.
Obviously, we've got food and bev members sometimes that work out of their home or they run a kitchen.
Right.
But those are the smaller ones, clearly. The restaurants obviously have their own footprint.
But where do you see the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce footprint in the next 5 to 10 years, Rebecca?
Oh, growing and growing. We are not quite 9 years old. And I think of how far we have come. It is mind blowing. So we talked a lot about the different networking events and programs we have for the members. One of our initiatives, we have a strategic plan, and we keep in constant communication with our local elected officials or state officials, county, on issues that are impacting not only our business members, but our community. Infrastructure, traffic, transportation, affordable childcare, attainable housing,
Right.
everything that now it feels like we have come used to saying those terms.
Sure.
And I sit on a bunch of different types of committees so that we can bring the latest information to our members. We also just had breakfast with the mayors
Right.
last week at the
Right.
Harbor Entrepreneur Center, brought in Reggie Burgess with Cogswell, Mayor Haney, and to have, a panel conversation about what each of their cities are doing. We're really blessed in our community to have these three strong leaders that all work together and support each other. So we're very fortunate in that regard. Every year on the Yorktown, in the last few years it's been on the Yorktown, I do an event called Know Your Lawmaker,
Hey.
which brings our state and local elected officials together to have conversations one-on-one with the community. And that is a very well attended event. So we just had our fifth annual one. I have to keep all these years now straight. Mine ain't even been to six. I got to think about it. But we've been doing it for a number of years. And I started that as a volunteer.
Huh.
I was not executive director at the time. I headed up strategic partnerships for the chamber, and that's how I'm wired. I'm a political science journalism background, so I really think it's so important for our business members to know who their elected officials are. They move here, and they need to know what district are they in.
Yeah.
So we have this big map as you walk into the event with the different districts, so they can say that's your district, that's your person that you need to talk to with a program, with all the lawmakers that are in attendance. So we are also doing, I guess I would call it advocacy in that area, in terms of being advocates for our business members. If they need some help, perhaps in something as simple as I want to fly a feather flag in front of my business to announce the grand opening.
Right.
How do I do that? And the town actually has a process for that. Now, you can't fly the feather flag 365 days a year, but when you're trying to get people to come in your door, yes, you can come up with a special permit and do that. So we offer very much grassroots advocacy, I guess I would say, Quintin, because again, most of our membership are small members, small businesses. So we're the chamber for that grassroots advocacy.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I know you have to run really quick, but in 20 seconds, what strategic partnerships do you want to form next within the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. We've done a really great job of having several partnerships in place. The town of Mount Pleasant. I sit on the regional policy committee under the Charleston Metro.
Cool.
We have a relationship with Charleston County School District, and that we provide our members information on their Center for Advanced Studies, which is sort of preparing kids for the workforce that aren't necessarily going to a four-year college. So we connect the members with those students. We also have a partnership with the community colleges in our area, Trident Tech. So those have all been, check the box, check the box, check the box. So I guess, honestly, if I were to say where I would like to continue that partnership, it would be more at the college level. Like, what can we do to, what are our needs here so that graduate, we have College of Charleston in the area, Charleston Southern University, how can we better address the workforce challenges? Because one of the areas that the chamber does, and gosh, I didn't even mention our 15th annual business expo that we just had.
Right.
Which had 1,500 attendees, 95 vendors, and we had a job fair component. So if I were to say, in addition to the four-year universities, I would want to strengthen our partnerships with those industries that are really the ones that have a lot of employees. Like the port was a member of the job fair this year. I want to continue to work with them. Charleston County School District, Rains Hospitality, the town of Mount Pleasant, continue those strategic partnerships in terms of getting folks hired locally, because if they're already here, perhaps they're not putting another car on the road. And maybe they already have a place to live and they're not having to do that long commute. So that's an area that I'm always trying to think of. How can we hire local talent and keep them local?
Well, absolutely. And I'm sitting really next door to Trident Tech. I'm in hand in hand, but I'm right across the street from Trident Tech. And that's an amazing institution here in the Low Country as well. But Rebecca Imholz with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.